What's a good word, everyone? It's your boy DKB here. I just want to say thanks for all the support. The channel's been steadily growing, and the number you see below, you can drop a text, shoot a voicemail, any ideas, topics, collabs, etc. you guys want to see. I'll include them in future videos and live streams, and I'll catch you again. Be easy. What's a good word, Jets fans? It's your boy DKB here. And the game against the Carolina Panthers, where we may be down not only Garrett Wilson, but additionally Josh Reynolds as well, could be the breakout game for Arian Smith here. And it's one that I'm actually fairly excited for. I know there's not a ton of hype or belief in Arian Smith, a fourth-round rookie that many people really feel like should have been a sixth, seventh, even potentially UDFA type of guy because of the issues with his hands in college. But from everything that we saw, again, OTA's training camp, and I know this is a tiring story, right? The Jets always have elite practices on a weekly basis. We get to the games, it ends up being nothing. But there are glimmers of hope with what we've seen from Arian Smith in the small spurts, because he has gotten a pretty significant amount of playing time here. You talk about him in the last 5 weeks averaging 57% of the snaps. I believe it was week 2 or week 3 where he was playing like the high 80s, low 90s in terms of snap counts that he had. In addition to playing special teams, we also heard Aaron Glenn highlight the fact that he's been improving as a receiver after his earlier comments in the season referencing, of course, he still needs some development in that area. So I don't say that to say that he's had everything figured out in, year one and he just needed the opportunities now, but it's nice to hear that he has been steadily progressing and that there's no notable issues, in addition to his ability to also earn his keep on special teams as well, where you really need to lean into that athleticism and that physicality, which is what Aaron Glenn has been trying to instill within this offense. But there's a few factors that set him up, right? For one, the Carolina Panthers defense can be very up, it can be very down. They pitched a shutout at one point this season, I believe against the Falcons, and they've also been blown up by a couple of teams, right? So you're not talking about a defense like the Bills, who have had the Jets number or anything like that. And while I don't think we've necessarily in the last few matchups, whether that's been preseason or regular season, have done favorably well against them, you still like your shots at what you could potentially pull off here. And so you have that factor. Secondly, you have some of the recent comments from Justin Fields as it relates to his performance, right? And you look at, for one, side note here, his comments just let me know that it's not necessarily clicking for him. Like at this point, I'm pretty confident writing him off as a starting quarterback in the NFL. Maybe he can become another one of those guys 2-3 years down the league that has some kind of resurgence or something. But I just don't think the read and react decision-making ability is there for him to succeed, right? He plays the game in a scared manner that doesn't help us out. But aside from that, because that'll sound like it's refuting my point that we actually have a bit of good news here, he did at least highlight the fact that he feels like he's being conservative, and I'm talking about Justin Fields still here, and he wants to be more aggressive moving forward, maybe launching some of these balls into tighter windows than what he would normally be comfortable with. And that's going to come at a perfect time for Arian Smith, where you have to almost look at him as default as wide receiver 1 in the presence or lack of presence of Garrett Wilson and Josh Reynolds not being out there on the field. Now, who else is going to eat into his snaps, right? You're talking about Allen Lazard, or Tyler Johnson, maybe one of the other rookies that you call up, something like that. I highly unlikely see them getting snaps over him. And so all it really takes is for Justin Fields to get a couple extra looks his way. You look at what happened in the Broncos game, for example, and there were opportunities littered throughout the game where he was either open by a decent enough window where a more aggressive quarterback would have tested it, or he had catch and run opportunities. Now, I'm not saying he's just open 24/7, right? This guy's not 7-Eleven. And I'm also not saying that he's going to be able to capitalize on all those opportunities, but it's kind of the what if story that I don't want to be the storyline for Arian Smith, right? What could have, his rookie season looked like if he had a more competent quarterback? Now, again, it's all going to be dependent on Justin Fields actually giving him the looks, but he has to throw the ball to somebody, right? And even though we've been leaning more heavily into the run, I still feel really good about it, even though at this point he's caught more balls from Tyrod. 3 of his, I think he has 4 receptions on the season from him, as opposed to the 1 from Fields. But still, I think overall he showed his ability to clearly be able to beat guys deep, and that 4.36 40 is actually legit football speed, but he's also showed a little bit more nuance in his route on top of you being able to get a little bit of a surplus in the run blocking department, where he's actually pretty sound in that area as well, at least from what we got to dig up a little bit in college. So I'm pretty excited about this, right? What does a breakout game actually look like for him? I'm not saying he has to top 100 yards, but just like we were talking about before the regular season even kicked off, imagine that he can get a 40, 50, 60-yard bomb, right? Imagine that he can take a slant, make a guy miss, or there's a bit of busted coverage behind someone that's expecting safety help, and he can take a 6-yard pass and turn that into an 80-yard run. He has the skill set to do it, and at this point, it's just a matter of opportunity and actually seeing it get accomplished. But whether he ends up having a breakout game due to just explosive plays, or he has a bit of a breakout game in terms of he just impacted whether we won or lost. And I'm talking about him just having, 5, 6, 7 catches on the game, and maybe he's averaging 12, 13, 14 yards per those receptions. Who knows what that looks like, but I think it's pretty reasonable to say that this at least will be his breakout game for the season, right? What makes him have that conversation for the coaching staff where they say, hey, we need to start bumping him up the depth chart, right? And now when Garrett Wilson returns, we have a potential Robin here that's being developed in season that can help him out and shade coverage away and give another reason for the defense to really be concerned and open up more one-on-one opportunities for Garrett Wilson, in addition to other guys that are coming on like Mason Taylor here. So I'm really excited for this matchup, again, for all of those reasons mentioned, but let me know what you guys expect. Do you expect, for us to essentially fall on our face here, or do you think maybe we have another Steelers type performance where suddenly there's an explosion of explosive plays and points, and maybe ultimately we shoot ourselves in the foot and we lose, or we actually turn the corner and turn this into our first win on the season? And Arian Smith was one of the primary reasons why. Either way, looking forward to you guys' comments, and I'll catch you again. Peace.